request Mr. Vivek Bhole, New Modern Architects, to please come on stage. A big round of applause for him, please.
Hello. Audible? Good evening. With Sanjeev Parekh sir, Vatve sir, Inamdar sir, and Vatsal Gukani. I don't see him in here. And then I was told that even Girish was there. And then I took this topic, a daring topic. I don't want to take the credit of the entire design. They told me not to show any project today, but I took this liberty. 2020 is actually supposed to be non-architectural presentation, but this is architectural presentation. I'm going to show my projects only, except this one slide. So, Soyuz was telling, in high-rise building, the central core, the surrounding peripheral columns, the relationship of the floor plate along with the core, that is very important for the lateral forces. So, typical commercial buildings, typical residential units, what we design. And you can see that strong core and apartments connecting. So, when I said structurally out of box, what is to be done new? So we tried few experiments. Of course, with the help of the structural engineers, we could actually execute them. This is the, I'm going showing few case studies. This is the first of it. So this is a 55-story twin tower at advanced stage of completion. At Mulund, we are doing this complex. And when we designed it some 15 years back, so I had very weird requirement. Typical residential apartments, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom with central core. Number of apartments were very high. The building footprint, the parking footprint is absolutely coinciding. So I got 650 parkings to be accommodated in those lower podium floors. So I had to go a little different than a regular conventional design. So for the first time, we used Caesar ramp. So there are 2 ramps of 6-meter widths, and this ramps, along with the ramps, there is parking. So the parking is also on the inclined slab. So we did this Revit model to explain L&T what I wanted to do. And absolutely very convenient type of parking we designed for 650 car parks. And now you can see there are few columns which are round in shape. So they are going right up to the top floor. I'm just showing you this amenity floor because they add to the architect's misery. There is parking layout, then you have got typical residential floors to take care, and then these are these amenities, the requirement of the developers, and the entire requirement, structural requirement changes. So just to take it, to give you the glimpse or the understanding of the project. And this is what is the typical residential floor. And now I have taken those columns out. So when I say out of the box, I wanted to explain you today how we can actually achieve better light and ventilation by taking the columns out. So in typical residential building, when we take a shear wall at the end of the master bedroom or any habitable room, we actually block a view. And I have got a fantastic view to look at. So taking a column out gives me a good corner window. It reduces my cantilever of the decks. Now, in those days, there were a lot of these decks and balconies were allowed. And I wanted to restrict them to a certain distance. So, interesting, form making out of these columns, double height spaces out of those decks, they create the character. I don't have absolutely anything in terms of makeup to the building. The structural arrangement and the arrangement of these decks is my architectural character. So you can see those round columns going right till the top floor. And as I said, when you have to design a parking just below the footprint, then column grid becomes really very tricky. So this experiment actually made me a little bolder. So I decided next time I'll do something even more complicated. And then we made this building. When we designed it and showed it for the first time to the client said the structural engineer is not ready. So I said, I want a meeting. And then structural engineer, absolutely, he said, not possible only. And then I insisted, we had some foreigner involved into it. They had a lot of fight, and eventually both of them agreed. And here the external columns are little more projected out of the building line. So you can see in the typical floor plan, particularly there, where the columns are outside the building line. And the floor plate changes. So alternate floor, the deck changes the side. And those slender round columns, because there is a central core, strong central core. So the peripheral columns are only gravitational columns. And that is what is giving me the architectural character to the building. So again, absolutely no redundancy in elevation, and the character is derived from the structural requirements. So you can see those double-height decks there, the columns which are outside the building line, giving me the corner windows even in the bedroom and the toilets. And then I have got this bracket which is here. This bracket is supporting 15 feet of cantilever on the upper deck as well as lower deck. And that is what is giving me my architectural character. As I said, I didn't add any element into it. And then there was a requirement of this big entrance porch. So I had this huge column of 7-story high to give me that porch. These are the actual pictures of the project after completion. And then this is something similar. Again, me and Vatwesa designed this building. We started as a mall, only ground plus 3 mall. And the basement was actually casted. After we completed the plinth, we got FSI. So as Vatwesa was explaining, it is by compulsion you go high rise. So we had to add this tower on top of it. So we actually sacrificed one basement, we added footing, additional footing, and we took this tower up. After 10 stories, suddenly the developer thought making commercial tower is not going to be viable. So we converted it into residential. And residential without sacrificing the spacing, the architecture, the space planning. So again, as I said, amenity floor will always add to our misery. And this is the typical residential floor. You will see no compromise onto the planning. But believe me, when we started this project up to 10th floors, there was no clue that this is going to be a residential high-rise tower. Again, these red dots, they are my columns which are outside the building line. And they give me those double-height decks, and whatever elevation you saw, without makeup, absolutely without makeup, without any element, additional element which is non-structural. So whatever you see and like, this is the functional elevation. And that is where that shifting plate came in picture, and suddenly the plan changed from commercial to residential. Okay, then more bold experiments. So we got this one project in Hyderabad. Now Hyderabad is a different seismic zone, zone 2, I think. So where Vastu is more important than structures and architecture. They will do no sacrifice or no compromise for on Vastu. So this is what is the podium. Again, the character which is derived from my structure. No additional element, and very unique tower. I got 3 floors of this amenity floors, triplex clubhouse on top of my parking, 1200 parkings in 5 floors. Then these 3 levels of clubhouse. And then came the requirement from the client that he wanted the biggest apartment in Hyderabad. So Hyderabad has got normal 3-bedroom up to 4,000, 5,000 square feet carpet, but he wanted something which is 14,500 square foot 5-bedroom apartment. And on one floor, we have got 12,500 two apartments and 14,500 single apartment. 40,000 square feet is the footprint and 50-story tower. And a very complex arrangement of space. So this is the footprint, a typical floor. As I said, Vastu without compromise. They'll compromise anything else. And this is the plan. You can see these are the smaller apartments with 12,000 square feet carpet. You can see those columns which are outside the building line. Again, I followed the same thing. I took the columns out, created corner windows. This is the bigger apartment, 14,335 square feet. And you can see the sizes. I think the master bedroom is bigger than our 2-bedroom apartment in Mumbai and Pune. Vastu, as I said. And the purpose of showing you this presentation is when you actually design your building, you start a design from a concept and then you give to the structural engineer, and then that creativity, if they support you and that thinking it happens properly, then that is how you make iconic buildings. Right, sir? Thank you.